I created this video because we wanted to give people an insight into alternative dispute resolution, which in this context is mediation. HMRC have now made this business as usual, so taxpayers can use this service, and there has been a successful pilot scheme to back it up as well. So we wanted to give people really a look and feel as to what a mediation day is about. And this is really a documentary style, fly on the wall experience of the build up and the actual mediation. Both the case and the characters are fictitious, and we have used a little bit of artistic license.
Do you know, I think we've got to be late.
I think we're going to be late, yeah. I can't come on.
This is just typical, isn't it, today of all days?
The first episode is set about 2 months before the actual mediation day, because there will be some uncertainty about what the options are for Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Smith.
Have you got everything?
I think so. Did you check it?
Well, have you checked it?
Yes.
In this case, a smaller firm of accountants have asked our specialist team at BDO to give the client some advice about what the various options are.
This is the building you want, just here on the right.
This is an entrenched dispute. They feel like they've reached a stalemate with HMRC, and they don't know what to do next and where to turn. And clearly this can be quite a bewildering, anxious experience for clients. In this case, Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Smith have already been under investigation for 3.5 years. And it's already cost them about £20,000 worth of professional fees with no settlement in sight. I think they're probably quite anxious and mixed with often some anger, because if somebody's been under the spotlight of HMRC for so long, it takes its toll, whether that's with the business or personally or in relationships. It really is a difficult experience.
Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Smith, can I ask you, what are you hoping to get out of the meeting this morning?
No idea.
Just to find a way to resolve this dispute with HMRC as quickly and as painlessly as possible.
Yeah, fat chance of that then.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Spencer Smith.
Yes, Burungi.
Very nice to meet you.
The BDO advisor will take quite a bit of time to look through what has gone on in this case, the correspondence that has gone backwards and forwards between the revenue, and they will want to assess what the various options are going forward and be very clear about the benefits and risks of those options.
Over the last 3.5 years, we've achieved pretty much nothing and costed us a lot of money. So are we talking about some options here, or are we just wasting our time?
For Mr. and Mrs. Spencer Smith, there will be quite a few options. I would say 4. So the main ones being the going to tribunal, which is what most people think about when a dispute has been running for many years. So is this going to court, the tax tribunal, barristers and the like? The other option is to carry on as they are, corresponding with the revenue. They will be able to possibly have a meeting with the revenue for an informal negotiation, or there is this new mediation process called alternative dispute resolution.
If we do go with ADR, what happens next? I mean, how long would the entire process take?
Yeah.
The next step, once we've ascertained that ADR is the right option, is that BDO would actually assist them with that application, and that would be made to HMRC. Now, there's no guarantees they'll be accepted into the process, but if they are, then they would be given a date, probably in about 4 to 6 weeks, whereby one mediation day would be set aside to try and resolve it just in that day.
Well, it's been 3.5 years to date, so does 2, 3, 4 really matter as long as we get it resolved?
Being in a room with HMRC.
Are we going to be in a room with HMRC? I mean, is that...
You would meet them initially, but you would negotiate with the mediator, so you wouldn't be talking directly to HMRC.
There is no obligation for the clients to be present at the mediation day, but we would encourage the clients to be there because that can be quite powerful. And often it is the first time that the revenue and the clients have been face to face.
Have you any information on that?
Really, it is up to both parties to come up with their own resolution. There isn't a judge, there isn't an arbitrator. It's up to them to discuss what the possible settlement could be.
Thank you very much for your help.
You're very welcome.
For clients, I think it is a very emotive experience, and I think for them, they can find it difficult to come face to face with somebody who's been investigating them for a very long period of time.
So, Mr. Spencer-Smith, what have you decided to do at this stage?
Well, look, our situation is very complicated. We have decided to go down the route of ADR, but I envisage it's going to be ending up in court anyway and costing us a lot of money. What I'm very, very angry at is HMRC for putting us in this position in the first place. And Mr. Cameron, I'm just trying to do what he says, my government says, and that is try to create wealth, try to build a company, try to employ people. And that Mr. Blood, yeah, one good thing about the ADR is I get to meet Mr. Blood. And when I do, I'm going to tear a strip out of him.
Sorry about that.
Don't apologise for me, ever!
So, who is this Mr. Blood?
Oh, he's the HMRC inspector that we've been dealing with. I'm sorry, what was your original question?
So, what have you decided to do at this stage?
Oh, yes. Well, to be honest, at this stage, I am willing to do anything to resolve this. It's just been going on for far too long. I'm very glad that we sought expert advice. It's been very helpful. I mean, we thought we'd run out of options. We'd never heard of this whole ADR process, and if it can be resolved in one day, that would be absolutely fantastic. So I'm very hopeful. Anyway, I'm so sorry, I really must go after my husband. Thank you.
Likewise, it is a difficult experience for the HMRC inspector who's invested a lot of time and energy into a case to maybe lose out on their day in court.
Mr. Blood, Mr. Gain, hi. How do you feel about the fact that the Spencer-Smiths have applied for ADR?
I've worked for HMRC for very nearly 25 years, and this is as clear a case of a fraudulent tax return as I've ever seen, and I've seen a few. I think the Spencer-Smiths need to be careful here. They're treading a very fine line between tax avoidance and tax evasion. It's a serious matter, and in my view, not something that can be sorted out in a day over tea and cakes and a bit of a chat. I mean, they have applied for ADR, that is true, but in fact I have a meeting this afternoon to discuss the matter, and my advice is going to be that we say no. So, if you'll excuse me. Oh, and one more thing. If this does go to ADR, I can assure you that I will not agree to be filmed. So, no offence, but I really hope never to see you again.
Right. Well, I don't mind being filmed. You know, if other people can learn from the experience. I mean, it's a new process. Hopefully, it will speed things up, and that will mean that we get the money quicker.
In many ways, ADR can be seen as a soft option because it is private and confidential, so there isn't that public court hearing. And although it can save time and money, there's no guarantee about that. So it does need to be carefully considered by both sides.
Thank you all for agreeing to the mediation process. I just want to stress that this is a confidential process. All conversations are without prejudice so that we can freely discuss different settlement options.